In this video, we're going to go through page 20 in Essential Elements Book 1. Those are songs number 66 through 71. The first one, 66, is a rhythm rap. In this one, it introduces eighth notes. Remember, eighth notes each receive 1/2 of a beat, if we're in like a 4/4 time signature. And we often count them by saying 1 and 2 and, where 1, 2 are the beats, and the ands are subdividing. The word subdividing means to break down that single beat into a smaller amount. It can really help us keep steady in our head and steady in our playing if we subdivide. So first, we're going to count through, out loud, speaking the words, we're going to count through the rhythm rap. So here we go. 1, 2, count out loud. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, rest. You may notice that I said the ands a little more quietly on the quarter notes, and that's because those ands, we're not going to play a new sound on them since we're playing a quarter note at those times, but we want to keep counting so that we keep the quarter notes steady. Now, let's try and bow that rhythm. Okay, I'm going to put my instrument up. There's no note given for this rhythm rap in number 66, so I'm just going to use my open D string. So I have my instrument up. I've checked for my good bow hold. We're still always making sure we have a good bow hold. Because I'm just going to use my open D, I'm going to leave my left hand on the shoulder of my instrument, and we're going to play through this rhythm rap. Okay, here we go. My bow is on the string. 1 and 2 and ready, and 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. Rest. Think about the motion in your arm. Are you opening your arm from your elbow and your wrist, violins and violas, cello, bass? Do you have a good arm motion as well? Okay, are you playing those rhythms steady? Are you holding those quarter notes for a full beat value and the eighth notes for just that 1/2 of a beat? We'll play it once along with the music. Here we go.
66, rhythm rap.
2, ready, and... Good. We're going to pause there on that one because, as you may notice, the next one, Pepperoni Pizza, is going to be the same rhythm just with different notes. You can practice this rhythm rap as many times as you want with different notes, different strings, with the music or without. This is number 67 on page 20, Essential Elements, Book 1, Pepperoni Pizza. Pepperoni Pizza is titled as such because it is a great rhythmic word phrase to use with the rhythm you see in this piece. When we have 4 eighth notes followed by 2 quarter notes, we can use the word phrase pepperoni pizza to help us remember that rhythm. First, we're going to go through and we're going to notice that at the beginning of the piece we have that key signature that tells us we should play F sharp and C sharp. So I'm going to make sure I remember that. We're also going to go through and we're going to speak our note names in rhythm. Speak or sing, okay? So I'm going to sing D. Here we go. We're going to speak it and sing it in rhythm. 1 and 2 and 3 and D, 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 sharp, sharp, B, 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 A, G, 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 sharp, sharp, E, 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 D, rest. Check your rhythm. Make sure you notice that the notes are changing on the way down. Let's go through and let's try and pluck this one first before we bow it. Remember, we're thinking about these eighth notes. They each get 1/2 of a beat. and the quarter notes get one full beat. I'm subdividing in my head, which means I'm thinking to myself 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and all the time in my head. So we're gonna pluck this one first. My instrument is up. Here I go. I'm gonna speak and sing the note names out loud as I go while we pluck. Keep an eye on your posture. Make sure your instrument is well set up. Here we go. 1 and 2 and ready, pluck, go. D, 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 sharp, sharp. B, 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 A, G, 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 sharp, sharp. E, 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 D, rest. Good. If you struggled, pause the video here or rewind it and go through that again, plucking. You want to make sure you feel comfortable with the notes before you add your bow. From now, we're going to try bowing it once. Here we go. My instrument's up. My left hand is set. I have a good bow hold. Here we are. 1 and 2 and ready, go now. D, 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 sharp, sharp. B, 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 A, G, 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 sharp, sharp. E, D, rest. Remember, each time I'm also thinking about that pepperoni pizza rhythm. Let's try it once with the music.
67. Pepperoni Pizza.
2, ready, and I have a nice crisp bow sound. I am not I have a nice crisp bow. I am not having a mushy bow. I am making a clear sound. I'm bowing on just one string. I'm really thinking about my rhythm and my subdividing in my head. We'll do it one more time. Here we go.
67. Pepperoni Pizza.
1, 2, and 3, and 4, and... Okay, you can review that as many times as you'd like. Really think about getting a clear sound, making a strong difference between your eighth notes and your quarter notes. Thinking that phrase pepperoni pizza, as well as subdividing the 1 and 2 and 3 and kind of putting it all together. This is number 68. Rhythm wrap on page 20. In this rhythm wrap, we're looking at a different quarter note, eighth note pattern. In the earlier rhythm wrap and in Pepperoni Pizza, we saw 4 eighth notes beamed together. That doesn't make them any faster or slower than 2 eighth notes or a single eighth note. It just means that we beam them all together in groups of 4. In this rhythm wrap, we have groups of 2 beamed together. The word phrase I like to use for the rhythmic pattern we see here is run, pony, pony. So I have a quarter, eighth, eighth, quarter, eighth, eighth, quarter, eighth, eighth, run, pony, pony. If we were to use the counting, that would be 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and. Again, you can tell that I'm subdividing in my head. I'm using that and even on the quarter notes so that I keep them steady and I keep the eighth note steady in relationship to that as well. So on this rhythm wrap, I think it would be really good if we counted it or if we clapped it. So I'm gonna pat on my leg just because I'm still holding a violin. So I'm gonna pat on my leg while I count out loud. You can clap, you can pat your leg, you can snap your fingers. You should also count the rhythm as well. So this is number 68, rhythm wrap. Here we go. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, go. 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, Careful with that rest at the end. I know a lot of my students like to accidentally play a little bit further. You've got to keep your eyes going through all the different notes, keeping track of where they are. Let's do that one more time. Clapping, patting, counting, snapping, something before we play it. Here we go. 1 and 2 and ready and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and run and pony, run and pony. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and rest. Okay, now we're going to bow it. Again, I'm going to use my open D string. It's just a nice, easy way to focus on my bowing rather than focusing on what I'm doing with my left hand. So I have my instrument up. My left hand's going to stay on the shoulder of my instrument because I don't need it right now. I have my good bow hold. I'm going to keep those quarter notes nice and strong and crisp, and those eighth notes nice and steady. Here I go. 1 and 2 and 3 and ready, go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. Rest. You might notice that I'm using a different amount of bow for my quarter notes and for my eighth notes. So if you take a look, I go 1, my quarter notes are a little bigger, and my eighth notes are a little smaller. That's because since those eighth notes are quicker in terms of their rhythmic value, they're shorter, I'm not going to use a ton of bow for them. If I tried to bow all of them the same, this is what it would look like. Wild bow and not a very good sound. I'm keeping my sound very neat and precise and my bow stroke very controlled. So by all means, pause or rewind the video, review the clapping and the patting, review playing it just without, just on your open D. I'm going to play it with the music this time.
68. Rhythm rap.
2, ready, and 'Rest. Okay, I'm going to do that one more time. I'll even add in some of the run ponies so you kind of hear that word phrase as well. One more time with the music. 2, steady, and run, pony, run, pony, run. Rest. Good. Review that rhythm pattern and get comfortable with that rhythm pattern before you go on to the next piece. This is number 69, D major scale up on page 20 in Essential Elements. In this one, we are taking that run pony rhythm from the rhythm rap on the previous number, and we're going to apply left hand notes to it. As the title indicates, we're just doing a D major scale up. And since I like to use this word pattern of run pony, when I look at this piece, I start to notice that each note in the scale, the D major scale, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, etc., has a full run pony, except for the very last note. So take a look through with me. I see that I have D, 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 that's a run, pony, and then on the next run, run, pony, I move up to the next note. Run, pony. So let's go through this. Let's speak or sing our note names. You can either speak the note name D, or you can sing the word run pony on each one. I'm going to use the note names just to review them even more. So here we go. 1, 2, and singing, ready, go. D, 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 E, 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 sharp, 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 G, 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 A, A, B, 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 sharp, 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 D, rest. The high D, that last note, that's the only one that doesn't get a full run pony. It's just run. Okay, let's do that one more time. This time I am going to say run pony as I sing each note. 1, 2, ready, here we go. D, run, pony, 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 run. Rest. Let's try plucking this one before we bow it. So I'm putting my bow down. I'm thinking about that D major scale up. I'm thinking about that rhythm. I'm subdividing in my head. I'm still going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and all the way through in my head the whole time. So here we go. We're going to pluck this one first. Here we are. 1, 2, and ready. Here we go. D, 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 E, 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 run, pony, G, 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 A, B, 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 sharp, 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 D, rest. If you feel comfortable there, you're ready to play it with your bow. If you need to review those notes, pause the video here or rewind it and go back through those parts again. Let's try it with our bow. Remember, in the rhythm rap, we discussed that our quarter notes are going to get a little bit more bow than our eighth notes. So keep that in mind as you're playing. Set your bow on the string. Think about your good bow hold. This is the D major scale up. 1, 2, and ready. Here we go. Rest. Let's try it with the music.
69. D major scale up.
Think about the counting. 1, 2, and ready, and. Rest. Good. Think about, did you divide your bow properly? Are you using too much bow on the eighth notes? Are you opening from your elbow and your wrist, violins and violas, cellos and basses, the whole arm is flexible and relaxed? Are you placing your fingers properly? Are you counting in your head? 1 and 2 and 3, or at the very least saying a word phrase like run, pony. We're going to do it one more time. Here we go. 2 and ready and 1, pony, run. Rest. This is number 70, Hot Cross Buns on page 20. I'll encourage you before we get started to look at the orange box just above number 70. This box talks about tempo markings, which is the speed of the music. Tempo indicates how fast or slow the overall piece is going to go. So it might be a faster tempo, like the Italian word allegro. It might be a medium tempo, like the Italian word moderato. Or it might be a sort of a slower walking tempo, like andante. So Hot Cross Buns is listed as moderato, a nice medium tempo. But I encourage you to study those terms and get comfortable with them as we move forward in the book. We've seen Hot Cross Buns before, but probably a slightly different version of it. You may have already played this one with your class, or you may have plucked it or bowed it, but if you haven't, it's a good chance for us to see it in note form as well. Okay, so if I look at this, I see that I have my key signature at the beginning is D major, so I have F sharp and C sharp. Think through that key signature all the time. Find it at the beginning. It's those two sharps you see at the beginning of the music. They indicate which special notes to play. So I know I'm going to need those when I play through Hot Cross Buns. As I'm looking through this piece, I also notice that there's a repeat at the end, which means I'm going to play this piece 2 times through. Then I'm looking at the rhythm in this piece. I start off with quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, rest. 1, 2, 3, rest. But that next measure, that third measure, is different. Those are eighth notes. Remember, eighth notes is 1/2 of a beat, and I see 4 eighth notes beamed together, and then 4 more eighth notes beamed together. So I have to be subdividing in my head. I have to be counting and thinking through in my head, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, so I can keep those eighth notes steady. And then I finish off with quarter notes. I'm also noticing at the very end of this piece that there's a little apostrophe marking above that last rest. That apostrophe marking is a lift, where I pick up my bow and I reset it to the frog. So we are going to sing through this one, then we'll pluck it, we'll address 1 or 2 quick things, and then we'll play it all the way through. So first we're going to sing through this one. We'll sing our note names. So we start on F sharp. Okay, F sharp's right here. 1, 2, sing your note names. Sharp, E, D, rest. Sharp, E, D, rest. D, 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 E, 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 sharp, E, D, repeat, and sharp, E, D, rest. Sharp, E, D, rest. D, 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 E, 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 sharp, E, D, rest. You can hear that I'm counting that rhythm. I'm really keeping track of the quarter notes, and in my head I'm actually going 1 and 2 and 3, so that when I get to measure 3 I'm ready for 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. I'm keeping it very steady. If those rhythms are confusing to you, stop right here. Practice them a couple more times. Maybe clap the rhythm, pat it on your leg, something to get that rhythm more steady. Now I'm going to pluck through this one. This is what you may have already done in your playing. All right, so my instrument's up. Here we go. 1 and 2 and ready. Here I go. Sharp, E, D, rest. Sharp, E, D, and here goes. D, 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 E, 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 sharp, E, D, repeat, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 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 and. So there I went through it both times. One time I said my note names. The other time I went through the counting so we can make sure that we're really thinking about that steady counting in our head. Let's try playing this one through. Okay, I'm keeping an eye on my bow direction. The only time I lift is at the end of the line before I repeat. I'm going to keep my bow stuck and set the rest of the way through. My instrument's up. Here I go. 1, 2, and 3, and ready, go. 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and 2 and 4 and 1 and lift, go, and rest, and rest, and rest. Okay, let's try this just once with the music. So we still are going to take the repeat, but we'll try it once with the cheesy music. If you are still struggling to get that rhythm, to line up everything, pause here, go through it 1 or 2 more times, see if you can address what might have you stuck. Don't forget the lift, keep it steady, count in your head, and then come back and play it with us with the music.
70. Hot Cross Buns.
Here we go. 1, 2, ready, and lift, repeat. Rest. 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 And we're going to pause there. So that's all the way through Hot Cross Buns. Make sure you're keeping those 8th note bowings steady and that you're counting through the quarter notes in your head. This is number 71, Au clair de la lune, which means by the light of the moon, on page 20. I'm looking through this one first. So we're going to look through the piece, and I'm noticing that I'm using a lot of Pepperoni Pizza rhythms. That's earlier in the page. You can always go back and review those rhythms. I also notice there's no repeat at the end, which is good. And I notice that I do have a lift in the middle of the piece. That's that apostrophe marking over the rest right at the end of measure 2. I also see, as we talked about in the last piece, that I have a tempo marking. Remember, the tempo is the speed of the piece, how fast or slow the music goes overall. And it says andante. And you might notice a little higher up in that orange box that andante means a slower walking tempo. So this piece is not very fast. If I look at the beginning, I also notice that I have F sharp and C sharp. It's my key signature at the beginning of the piece. Those are those sharps at the beginning. Let's go through and let's speak our note names or sing our note names for this piece. Okay, remember I used the word sharp instead of F sharp. D. Here we go. Let's speak or sing this one in rhythm. So think through that rhythm as you are singing. 1 and 2 and ready, go now. D, 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 E sharp, E, D sharp, E, E, D, rest, lift. D, 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 E sharp, E, D sharp, E, E, D, rest. Take a second, look through measure 1 and 2. And then look through measure 3 and 4. What do you notice about those two measures? Hopefully, as you just sang through your note names, you notice that they are identical. So really, this piece is only 2 measures long and it just repeats those 2 measures. So if you can get through measures 1 and 2, you can absolutely get through measure 3 and 4 because they're exactly the same. Let's speak or sing those note names one more time because it's a little tricky. Here we go. 1 and 2. And ready, here we go. D, 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 E sharp, E, D sharp, E, E, D, rest. D, 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 E sharp, E, D sharp, E, E, D, rest. I'm making sure that I'm keeping an eye on my rhythm. I have those 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and rest. I'm thinking through the 8th notes, the 4 beamed together 8th notes versus the quarter note. Let's pluck this one before we bow it. Okay, here we go. 1 and 2 and ready, here we go. D, 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 E sharp, E, D sharp, E, E, D, rest. D, 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 E sharp, E, D sharp, E, E, D. Measure 2 and measure 4 can be a little tricky going D sharp, E, E, D. Let's play just that measure. This is either measure 2 or measure 4. 1 and ready, go. D sharp, E, E, D. Make sure you get those fingers down. If you're a violin or viola, it's 2 fingers. If you're a cello, you have to go from 0 to 3 fingers. And if you're a bass, You're going from 0 all the way up to all 4 fingers. Let's do measure 2 or measure 4 again. 1, and ready, go. Good. If you're still stuck on that measure, pause the video here. Review that a few times until it gets comfortable. Let's try this piece with our bow now. I have my good bow hold. My thumb is in the right spot. My thumb is bent outward. It's been a little while since I've reminded you of that. I have my fingers set. Here we go. 1 and 2 and ready. Here we go. 3 and 4 and lift, go. Rest. Make sure you catch that lift at the end of measure 2. Let's try this with the cheesy music once through.
71. Eau Claire de la Lune.
2, ready, and lift. Rest. So that's a little quicker in the music than we were going in our video. That's okay. You should just really listen when you hear those clicks. Get the tempo from the clicks that we hear on the music. Start subdividing in your head so it's not just 1, 2, it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. That will help you be really ready. We're going to do it once more with the music. 2, ready, and lift. Rest. Okay, that one might be a good one to go back and review a few times, getting the tempo of that comfortable, getting your bow motion and the rhythm comfortable, as well as catching that lift.